I'm delighted to say we've been joined by its director, Brady Corbet. Brady, hello, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, thanks for having me.
You look as though you're in a cinema somewhere.
Indeed, I am. I'm at the Curzon Soho, where the film opened earlier this week.
Okay, did you go along or have you seen it enough times?
I have seen I've seen it more times actually than anything else I've ever made. Which is just because the film is premiering in so many formats,
Yeah.
we had to approve each 70 millimeter print, each 35 millimeter print, and of course the DCPs and as well as the network grades. So I really learned my lesson and was punished for making such a long film.
Well, you've been punished by 10 Oscar nominations, including for you as Best Director. And I know that, so this is new for us. It's old for you because you've been working on it for 7+ years. That when you turn the light out at night, you must be very, very excited and buzzy about this.
I haven't, really had the chance yet, I think, to process what this means for, the future of my collaborators and my films moving forward. Obviously, it seems very positive, but what's most important to us is that because filmmaking is a freelance job and there's very little job security really at any point in your career. You never know if you're going to make a movie again. So frankly, I'm just thrilled to have a strong sense that as long as we're able to make the next film for a reasonable number, and I think that we can, that we will be making another movie again very soon.
Yeah. I mean, presumably 10 Oscar nominations, whatever happens at the ceremony guarantees a lot of interest and um, presumably a bigger budget than $10 million. Is that true that you did the whole thing for 10 million? I can't
It
imagine that.
it is absolutely true.
Wow.
The thing is though is that because autonomy is so important to me, my next film, just because of inflation, really will probably be closer to 15 to 17 million dollars. But it's important to me to keep it as well under 20 as possible, just so that we're able to make something which is uncompromising and radical, that can actually make its money back. Because there's of course a lot of waste on in film production, and so we are always doing our very best to make sure that every dollar ends up on screen.
There's a moment in your movie, in The Brutalist, where Guy Pearce's Van Buren says to Adrian Brody's Laszlo Todd, "Why architecture?" So that's where I'm starting there. I just want to say that to you too. Why architecture? Why did you decide on this as a theme?
Well, for a variety of reasons. All of my films, they're my first film, for example, The Childhood of a Leader, was about the interwar period and the 6 months leading up to the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. So it too was a post-war film, about post-war psychology following the First World War. Vox Lux was a film about post Columbine and post 9/11 psychology in America. And so, of course, I'd wanted to do something on the post war years after the Second War for some time. And brutalism felt like the right visual allegory to explore that period of time because brutalism came about in the 1950s, and it's such a hotly debated, even to this day, style of architecture, especially if with the context that this came from the era of I Love Lucy, and I mean these buildings must have appeared to be especially radical at that time. And so I also felt that there were not a lot of films, strangely, on the subject of architecture. prior to Francis's movie Megalopolis this year. The last movie I could really think of was Peter Greenaway's The Belly of an Architect, and then King Vidor's film, The Fountainhead. Before that, I'm sure I'm missing a few here and there, but there's surprisingly few films on the subject. So I thought that it would be a great subject to tackle. The other thing, of course, is that filmmaking and architecture have a lot in common. It is not something that you can do by yourself in your bedroom, or by yourself in your studio. It is something that requires a lot of capital. It requires, a lot of social management, usually with hundreds of individuals that have never worked together before. And so those parallels sort of drew me to it because I felt that it was something that, more or less was a medium I really understood.